Real stories, raw emotions, cool dignity. Welcome to Dignity Stories, where every voice matters. Asterisk, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. The gym buzzed with energy punching bags, thudded rhythmically, the echo of trainers shouting. Corrections bounced off the walls, and the acrid scent of sweat and rubber mats filled the air. A group had gathered near the center of the mat, where a black belt instructor was wrapping up a self-defense demonstration. Asterisk, tall, confident, and clearly used to being the center of attention, the instructor grinned as he looked around the small crowd. Most were beginners college students, a couple of middle-aged hobbyists. Even a teenager or two watching him with wide eyes and nervous smiles. That's when he spotted her. Asterisk, she was sitting on a bench near the wall, hands folded neatly in her lap, a canvas tote by her feet. She wore a soft gray cardigan over a plain blouse, jeans, and a pair of slightly scuffed ballet flats. Her hair was pinned back in a simple bun, and she looked like she'd accidentally wandered into the wrong room on her way to a book club. Asterisk you, the instructor said, with a playful smirk, pointing directly at her. Feel like testing your luck? Asterisk, the room chuckled. A few people turned to look at her with raised eyebrows. She blinked, surprised. For a moment, it looked like she might shake her head and decline. But then, without a word, she stood up. Asterisk, the instructor laughed, clapping his hands. Didn't expect that, right? Come on up. Asterisk, she stepped quietly onto the mat, moving with a calm that didn't match her outfit or the nerves that usually followed people up there. There was no trace of fear, no awkwardness in her movements, just quiet focus. Some in the crowd watched, with a mix of amusement and anticipation, certain they were about to witness a harmless, one-sided spar. Asterisk, the instructor, bowed playfully. Don't worry, he said, winking. I'll go easy. She gave a polite nod. They took their stances. And then, everything shifted. Asterisk, the instructor, bounced lightly on his feet, still grinning, clearly expecting this to be a quick and gentle display, maybe a mock grab, a stage trip, a moment of light humor to close out the session. He feinted, a slow lunge toward her shoulder. A deliberate move meant more to test her reaction than to make contact. She didn't flinch. In a single, fluid motion, she pivoted to her left, caught his extended arm, and used his own momentum against him. The shift was effortless, barely visible to the untrained eye. One moment, he was towering over her with casual confidence. The next, he was airborne, flipped over her hip with shocking precision. He landed hard on the mat with a deep, resonant thud. Asterisk, gasps shot through the room. A couple of jaws dropped, but someone in the back muttered, "What the hell just happened?" Asterisk, the instructor lay there for a moment, staring up at the ceiling, stunned. His eyes blinked rapidly as he processed the fact that he'd been taken down cleanly, decisively, by a woman who looked like she should be supervising a bake sale, not flipping trained martial artists. Asterisk, she stepped back respectfully, hands by her sides, posture relaxed. No gloating, no smirk, just quiet stillness. Asterisk, he sat up slowly, rubbing his shoulder, then looked up at her with wide eyes. Where did you learn to do that? Asterisk, she extended a hand to help him up. He took it. Asterisk, Aikido, she said softly. Fourth Dan. Asterisk, the silence in the room deepened into awe. No one laughed now. No one even moved. And just like that, the mood in the gym had shifted completely. The instructor stood slowly, brushing off his GI pants. His expression transformed from amusement to something closer to respect, tinged with disbelief. His ego had taken a hit, but he wasn't angry, just surprised, humbled. Around them, the crowd remained frozen, processing what they'd just witnessed. The sound of a weight slamming to the floor in the far corner echoed like punctuation. Asterisk, she gave a small bow. then began to step off the mat, clearly intending to return to her seat. But something about her composure held everyone's attention. It wasn't just the throw, it was the way she moved, like someone who had spent years perfecting control. She hadn't shown off. She hadn't smiled or celebrated. She had responded to a challenge, delivered precision, and stepped back like it was nothing. Asterisk, a woman near the edge of the mat, younger, wearing gym clothes, and still holding her water bottle, spoke up. Wait, you're a fourth Dan in Aikido? Seriously? Asterisk, the woman turned, modestly folding her hands in front of her. Yes, she said simply. I taught for a while, back home. Not recently. Asterisk, back home. Someone else asked. Asterisk, she paused, then answered. Kyoto. Asterisk, that drew another round of murmurs. Even those unfamiliar with martial arts could sense the weight in her voice, the discipline, the years behind her. A few glanced at the instructor, who was now standing at her side, shaking his head in disbelief. Asterisk, well, he said finally, offering a genuine smile. I think I just learned more in 10 seconds than I have all week. Asterisk, that broke the tension. Laughter rippled through the room softer this time, not mocking, but admiring. Asterisk, would you maybe want to show us something? He asked. Asterisk, she hesitated, looking around at the suddenly attentive faces. Then she gave a small nod. Asterisk, if you don't mind, gentle, she said. I'm not here to hurt anyone. Asterisk, you're welcome to hurt me, the instructor muttered, rubbing his shoulder again with a sheepish grin. The room laughed again, and just like that, the gym had shifted from a routine afternoon class to a quiet master class unannounced, unexpected, and unforgettable. Asterisk, she stepped back onto the mat, with the same quiet grace as before, her cardigan sleeves pushed up just enough to free her hands. The instructor motioned to one of his assistants, a young man in his 20s, solidly built, full of energy. He looked to the instructor for confirmation, as if to ask, "You're sure about this?" Asterisk, the instructor nodded. "Just follow her lead," he said. "Trust me." Asterisk. The assistant approached with respectful caution, unsure what to expect. The woman offered a slight bow. He returned it, then took a ready stance, trying not to look too stiff. The room had grown almost reverent, with students gathering at the edge of the mat, some sitting cross-legged, others standing, all eyes fixed on her. Asterisk, she gestured gently. "Grab my wrist," she said, her tone almost teacherly, yet soft. Asterisk, he did. Not too forcefully, still holding back. Asterisk, stronger, she added. He tightened his grip. In a seamless blur of motion, she pivoted, twisting her arm just enough to slide out of the hold while using his own force to draw him forward. Her hand flowed across his elbow and shoulder, like water moving down hill, guiding, not striking. He stumbled, caught off guard, and she turned that imbalance into a controlled takedown. He hit the mat with a firm but safe roll, eyes wide as he landed. Asterisk, she looked down, offered a hand. "You okay?" Asterisk, he blinked, then nodded. "Yeah, just didn't see it coming." Asterisk, "Good," she said. "That means it worked." Asterisk, the instructor, let out a low whistle. "That was textbook Irminage," he said aloud, to no one in particular. "Perfect." Asterisk, a few students scribbled in notebooks. Others just stared, silently absorbing what they saw. One whispered to another, "She didn't use strength. It was all timing." Asterisk, timing, direction, intent, she said, overhearing them. "We don't fight force with force. We find its path and gently guide it where it wants to go." Asterisk, for the next 20 minutes, the gym transformed. No one was checking phones. One was chatting in the corners. The woman whose name still hadn't been offered demonstrated a handful of simple, yet devastatingly effective techniques. Each movement was precise, effortless, Quiet power in motion. Asterisk, the instructor stood to the side, arms folded, watching with admiration. It was rare, in his world, to see something that humbled both mind and ego. This was one of those moments. Asterisk, when she finally bowed and stepped back. The room erupted not with the kind of clapping reserved for performance, but something deeper. Respect, recognition. Asterisk, the instructor approached her, extending his hand. If you ever want to teach here, he said, you'd be more than welcome. Asterisk, she shook his hand gently. Thank you, she said. But I just came to watch. Asterisk, and with that, she walked off the mat, retrieved her tote bag, and took her seat again, quiet, composed, invisible once more. But no one in the room would forget her.